speaker, lawyers, Mr. Jatan Singh, senior advocate, who's also the vice president of Delhi Bar High Court Association. Sir, a very warm welcome to you, sir. Jatan sir, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank
Sir,
you.
today's,
Thank you, Robbie.
sir, today's topic is not only interesting, intense, but also deals with the practical aspects, sir, which every criminal lawyer faces, sir. So handing over to you the lecture, sir. All the very best, sir, and waiting eagerly to hear your session, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you for placing me in your lecture series for this topic. Hi, good evening, everyone. As you know that lecture series, they have been hosting and organizing so many webinars on different topics in this COVID situation. We are all working from home, and this is one of the very nice thing which happened to the legal fraternity, where lawyers like Robinder Singh Guman, Nitesh Mehra, Anu, and other people connecting with the lecture series webinar, they thought of this wonderful idea of having webinars on different subjects. Now, before I start, I wish everyone a very happy Eid ul Fitr. And today's topic is charge sheet without arresting and right of bail. You have been hearing different speakers on cross-examination, on different registration of FIR up to filing of charge sheet. So different webinars, different topics have been spoken of. But this is one topic, though I say it is not very big one, but it is a very important topic which every criminal lawyer faces during his day-to-day advocacy and trial. Now, you know, charge sheets, what is a charge sheet? Now, charge sheet is a final report which is filed by the investigation on completion of the investigation after collecting of the evidence under section 173 CRPC. So we call it a charge sheet, some call it a challan, some call it a final report. But when we see it is a final report under section 173 CRPC. And you know, in charge sheet, when the charge sheet is forwarded to the concerned court, be it a court of a magistrate or a special judge, so charge sheet has different columns. So in column 11, you find accused who are, who are sent to trial, who are on bail, anticipatory or regular, who are even absconders, because his name is also mentioned. Then it is said that whenever he is arrested, supplementary charge sheet will be filed. Then you have accused persons who are not charge sheeted. Initially, there is a name in the FIR, but after the IO collects the evidence, he finds that this particular accused, there is no evidence to charge sheet him, so he is not charge sheeted. Then there are accused. Who are charge sheeted, where the requirement of the arrest was not there as per the investigating officer. Somebody is speaking in between. So that the charge sheet is filed without arresting the accused, because IO feels that there is no evidence on record in the charge sheet which for which the custody of the accused is required. So custodial interrogation, when it is not required and he is not to be arrested, the IO sent the accused without arrest, and without arrest the charge sheet is filed. Now, there are different situations. Now, this is about the charge sheet, how it is filed without arrest. Now, what happens is, if the IO has to forward some accused in judicial custody, then he takes the aid of section 170 CRPC, and he forwards that accused in judicial custody. Now, generally what happens is, in the cases like after the judgment of Arnesh Kumar versus state of Maharashtra, in Arnesh Kumar judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court went into the question of arrest and section 40, implication of section 41A, capital A. So from that judgment, because the Supreme Court found that in cases of matrimonial offenses, 498A or other offenses, there was a misuse of power of arrest by the police officer. So the Honorable Supreme Court went on to explain section 41 and what is if the requirement of the arrest is there, the notice of section 41 capital A was required to be served. So after Arnesh Kumar, there had been number of charge sheets, because now the court said that in offenses where the punishment is below 7 years, which is 498A also, as well as cheating, etc. So lot of charge sheets are being filed without arrest, because there are false implications. The complaints are filed by the relatives of the complainant wife against all the family members of the accused husband. So in offenses like 376 also, there was a gross misuse. There is a gross misuse. So a lot of charge sheets are filed without arrest. You have 304B where a lot of charge sheets are filed without arrest against those relatives like brother-in-law, sister-in-law, married brother-in-law, sister-in-law who are staying, who were married prior to the marriage of the deceased, and they were staying separately. So in those cases also, IO sometimes files the charge sheet without arrest. And one of the penal provision where majority, so many charge sheets are filed without arrest is 420 IPC, because there are different kind of disputes between parties, sometime property dispute, sometime a business dispute. So the complainant tend to give a color of criminal offense to his complaint. So in those complaints also, when the FIR is registered and the IO is satisfied that there is no evidence for the custodial interrogation of the accused, so he files the charge sheet without arrest. Now, this is how the charge sheet without arrest in some of the cases. Even I give you an example of one of the charge sheet which was filed in a murder case in this 1984 right, and one of the accused, Kailash Jain. I'll come to that later on. Kailash Jain was granted anticipatory bail by the Honorable High Court. So now we come to the bail part of it, right of bail. Now everyone is aware that the bail provisions in the CRPC, they start from section 436 to 4 and goes up to 450. These are all bail provisions. Generally, we lawyers only think that it is 436, 437, 438, and 439. But then if you go on up to 450, you find that there are bail provisions. So the bail provisions the right of bail is provided in different sections. Now we are now here concerned in this topic, charge sheet without arrest and right of bail. Now we are concerned basically three sections: 437, 438, and 439. Now, what happens? Now, charge sheets were being filed without arrest earlier also, and in majority in the most of the cases, I will say some of the cases in the CBI had been filing in their cheating cases. CBI had been filing charge sheets without arrest, but the courts were not. Once the charge sheet was filed, the cognizance of the charge sheet was taken, and the accused one or two or more. So the accused persons were summoned. Now in 2004, what happened that Justice J.D. Kapoor, he came to know through a newspaper report that the special judges of the CBI, after the charge sheet was filed without arresting the accused, the special judges were taking the accused persons in custody. They were rejecting their bail applications. So a suo motu cognizance was taken by the Honorable High Court by Justice J.D. Kapoor in the case which is very famously known as Court of Its Own Motion versus CBI. This was in 2004. So he issued notice to the CBI that as to why the special judge is refusing to accept the charge sheet. They some of the cases they were accepting, some of the cases they were not accepting. So the newspaper report came that the special judge was refusing to accept the charge sheet because the accused persons were not arrested during the course of the investigation. And he was asking the investigating officers, the special judge was asking the investigating officer to adhere to the norms of the arrest. So for this, the High Court, Delhi High Court issued a notice to CBI, and a question of law was framed, and the question was whether any criminal court is legally permitted to refuse to accept the charge sheet where accused neither arrested nor produced in custody at the time of filing of the charge sheet. So this question was framed, and the Honorable High Court Justice J.D. Kapoor issued elaborate guidelines. And in the guidelines, it was provided as to how the accused, if he is produced in the if he is summoned and he appears on summons in a charge sheet which is without arrest. So the court directed, taking into the consideration that liberty of the citizen is of paramount importance, and the investigating agencies should not remain under the impression that in every cognizable and non-bailable offense, they should invariably arrest the offender. And the directions were issued. And in these directions, the Honorable Justice J.D. Kapoor, he held that when a charge sheet is filed without arrest and the accused is summoned and he appears, he should be granted bail. Even if he does not file the application of bail, he should be asked to file a bail application and he should be released on bail. So many guidelines in that judgment in para 26.5 were issued, and the right of bail in that guideline, para 26.5, it says that the court shall, on appearance of an accused in non-bailable offense, who has neither been arrested by the police investigating agency during investigation, nor produced in custody, as envisaged in section 170 CRPC, call upon the accused to move a bail application if the accused does not move it on its own, and release him on bail as the circumstances of his having not been arrested during investigation or not being produced in custody is itself sufficient to entitle him to be released on bail. Reason is simple. If a person who has been at large and free for several years and has not been arrested during the entire course of investigation, and his charge sheet is filed without arrest, there is no purpose that this person is remanded to the judicial custody. So this was, of course, earlier also Gurbakh Singh Sibia is the Constitution Bench landmark judgment on bail. And earlier also the courts were granting bail to the accused who were summoned on filing of a charge sheet without arrest. But seeing the anomaly and the question being raised by the special judge CBI, the judgment in 2004 came. After that, the courts were at some of the courts, because right of bail is a discretionary relief. So it is the discretion of the court whether to exercise that discretion in favor of the accused, even in the cases of charge sheet without arrest. But after 2004 judgment by Justice J.D. Kapoor, the discretion of the trial court was somehow curtailed, and the trial courts were told by way of these directions or the guidelines that as to how they have to conduct themselves when a charge sheet is filed without arrest and the accused is summoned. Now, after sometime in 2017, again, the same issue came before the division bench of the Honorable High Court of Delhi, comprising Justice Vipin Sanghi and Justice P.S. Teji. Now, in this case, when there was a difference of two learned magistrates in Kadkadnuma court regarding filing of charge sheet without arrest, the CMM of Kadkadnuma court, he sent a reference to the Honorable High Court in 2017. And because one of the magistrates asked during when the charge sheet was produced, charge sheet was filed without arrest, and the accused was summoned, the learned magistrate asked the IO as to why he is not arrested the accused, because it's a case of cheating or so case. So therefore, he asked the investigating officer as to why he is not arrested. So the investigating officer, because the power of arrest is the sole domain of the investigating officer, and that's why in Arnesh Kumar, because there was a misuse of power of arrest, that's why in Arnesh Kumar, the Honorable Supreme Court laid down certain guidelines as to how in and which cases the investigating officer should issue a notice under section 41 capital A before the if the arrest is required. So the learned CM of Kadkadnuma, he sent a reference, and the question which was raised before the division bench was whether a metropolitan magistrate can examine the discretion exercised by the IO for arresting or non-arresting the accused persons while considering the charge sheet at the stage of taking cognizance And if it is found that IO has not exercised his discretion lawfully, whether the court of learned MM can return the charge sheet for further investigation on the point of arrest of the accused persons. So this was the question which was raised before the in the reference before the division bench, and the division bench in 2017, relying upon the earlier judgment of courts of in own motion, that is court of in own motion 1, and this is court of its own motion 2, and there is a court of its own motion 3 also, 2018. I'll come to that. So it relying upon the earlier judgment of Justice J.D. Kapoor, the our High Court, Delhi High Court, it said that the court has no, the learned trial court, learned magistrate court has no power to direct the investigating officer as to why the accused, whether to arrest or not to arrest the accused, and the court relied upon the earlier judgment and para 26.5 and said that if the magistrate is not satisfied with the investigation, then magistrate can send the charge sheet back for further investigation. But the magistrate has no power to ask the investigating officer to arrest or non-arrest the accused. The power is solely with the investigating officer. So the para which is and in this case the Arnesh Kumar judgment is also relied upon, and two of the judgments, Uday Raj Punia and Rajesh Dua, they were relied upon, and it was held that the earlier judgment holds the feet, and the magistrate cannot direct the investigating officer for the arrest or non-arrest of the accused persons who have been charged. Came another very significant judgment which came in 2014. If you're all aware of General Tejinder Singh's, Lieutenant General Tejinder Singh's case, where the now our minister, General V.K. Singh, was the Chief of Army Staff. So in that case, the charge sheet against Lieutenant General Tejinder Singh was filed without arrest. It's a CBI case again, and in that case, the that particular special judge, CBI, he was accepting charge sheets without arrest and releasing accused persons on bail on when they were summoned after taking cognizance. On summoning, when they appeared, he was releasing some persons on bail. But in this case, the learned special judge did not exercise the discretion judiciously and properly, and rejected bail application of Tejinder Singh, saying that it was a different case than the other cases. The matter came to the Honorable Delhi High Court and was and decided. The bail application was filed, and the bail application was listed before Justice Pratibha Rani, and Justice Pratibha Rani, relying upon court of its own motion first, court of its own motion second, and other various judgments, and also said that the exercise of jurisdiction by the learned special judge was not proper. So it said that since the reasons recorded by learned special judge while dismissing the application of petitioner for grant of bail are against the settled legal principles laid down by the court, and court as discussed, I am of the considered view that this has to be enlarged on bail. Now, this point was also raised that, and it was also discussed by the Honorable Justice Pratibha Rani, that as to why the magistrate, the special judge was differentiating between the other cases in which the charge sheets were filed without arrest and they were granted bail, and why this General Tejinder Singh was not granted bail. So this was in 2018. It happened in September 2018. Then again, the Honorable High Court of Delhi Division Bench, comprising of Justice Vipin Sanghi and Justice I.S. Mehta, they were again confronted with a similar situation, but with a larger view this time, with a larger range of questions. And this is court of its own motion versus the state. This is the third judgment of court of its own motion. Now, in this case, what has happened is that there are two cases, and there is the reference of questions is there are 4 questions, then additional question of reference was also framed. Now, in this case, what has happened? One was that the IO was IO was filing the charge sheet without arrest and not arresting the accused persons. Now, in other case, which was a case under section 376 IPC, so the court said that since in 437, because the charge sheet is filed before the magistrate or a special judge, so or any other court of first instance, so the question was that in 376 IPC, the punishment provided is 10 years and up to life. So the court said that since in 437 subclause 1, it says that when a magistrate is, when the accused is produced, if I'll just read the 437 for your everyone's reference. It says that bail may be taken in non-bailable offences when any person accused or suspected of the commission of any non-bailable offence is arrested or detained without warrant by an officer in charge of a police station, or appears or is brought before a court other than the High Court or a court of session, he may be released on bail. Now, subclause 1 is very important, which is subject matter of the court of its own motion versus state in third. Such person shall not be released if there appears a reasonable ground for believing that he has been guilty of an offence punishable with death or imprisonment for life. So, the learned CMM Rohini, he raised certain questions, which are: one was whether in a given facts this court needs to refer the order of Honorable High Court rejecting in that case of 376, the application of the accused for a grant of anticipatory bail was rejected. So the court said that whether in a given facts this court needs to refer the order of the Honorable High Court rejecting the anticipatory bail application while considering the regular bail application of the accused. Number 2, whether this court needs to dwell upon the reasons of non-arrest given by the investigating agency after rejection of the anticipatory bail of the accused by the High Court. whether the effect of anticipatory bail application, be it allowed or rejected, stands seized with the filing of the charge sheet so as to consider the regular bail application without looking into anticipatory bail. And uh, uh, D, whether filing, whether while deciding the bail application of the accused, charge sheet without arrest, the court can dwell upon into the reasons of non-arrest of the accused, considering the gravity of the offense. Now, the Honorable Division Bench framed another additional issue in this case, question of law, which is whether this court can release the accused on bail, charge sheet without arrest under section 376 or any other offense punishable with imprisonment of life or death in view of section 437, 437(1) and 437 CRPC. So in this, the reference that whether the charge sheet which is filed without arrest of the accused, whether the court can go into the reasons of non-arrest of the accused considering the gravity of the offense. So the Honorable Division Bench said that we have already decided in court of its own motion versus CBI 1, court of its own motion versus state 2, and that question has already been decided. So therefore, the judgment of that court of its own motion versus CBI and court of its own motion versus state, they were followed, and it was said that in cases where the charge sheet is filed without arrest and the offense is punishable within 7 years of imprisonment, in those cases the law which was already laid down will apply. And as far as 376 is concerned, because the proviso of section 437 subclause 1 applies, and it can only there is an exception to that general rule, is that in 437 subclause 1, bail can only be granted in cases where the punishment is punishment provided is life or death, is only when the accused who is produced is under 16 years, or is a woman, or is infirm or sick. So that's an exception to the general rule for grant of bail in a 437 subclause 1. So in that, the Honorable Division Bench said that as far as the 376 case is concerned, where the charge sheet, where the anticipatory bail is rejected and the charge sheet is filed, then the magistrate court is seized of those powers, and the court has held that in the light of our discussion, as aforesaid, the accused who is charge sheeted without arrest under section 376 IPC or any other offense punishable for life or death may be released on bail under subsection 437, provided that there are reasonable grounds for court to believe that the accused has been guilty of the offense punishable with death or life, or accused is under 16 years of. So the court said that for that the reasoning has to be given by the magistrate, and if the accused falls in the proviso of he being under 16 or a woman or under so and so. Now, other question in this case was whether in a case where a bail application of the accused is arrested, so dismissed, rejected, and a charge sheet is filed without arrest. Now, what would be the effect of anticipatory bail application, which is allowed or rejected, on the filing of the charge sheet, so as to consider the regular bail? So in that case, if you are all aware that there was two judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court, and Supreme Court now finally in full bench judgment of Sushila Kumari Agarwal has said that the life of the anticipatory bill is till the completion of the trial. So this question was also answered. Now there is another situation which again came before the Honorable Supreme Court in a case which is titled as Dataram versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Now in this case, it's a case of cheating, 420, 419, and other provisions of fraud and cheating. Now in this case, the charge sheet was filed without arrest because the accused was not arrested during the entire investigation, and the charge sheet was filed without arrest. But when the accused was accused on taking cognizance and by issuing summons by the learned trial court, appeared before the court, he was taken into custody. And the Honorable Supreme and the matter he was taken into custody. But before that, when his charge sheet was filed without arrest and he was summoned, he approached Allahabad High Court and he filed a caution petition. In the caution petition, the Allahabad High Court refused to intervene, but however the court provided protection to the accused, that 2 months protection was provided, that if they file a bail application, appear before the trial court, file a bail application, that may be considered. So that period was extended again by the Allahabad High Court, and when the bail application was filed before the trial court, it was rejected and the accused was taken into custody. The matter came to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court again said that it is not necessary to go into the correctness or otherwise of the allegations made against the accused. This is a matter that will of course be dealt by the trial court. However, it is important as far as we are concerned that during the entire period of investigation, which appears to have been spread over 7 months, the appellant was not arrested by the investigating officer. Even when the appellant apprehended that he might be arrested under the charge sheet was filed against him, he was not arrested for a considerable period. And then the Supreme Court said that the discretion which ought to have been exercised in favor of the accused in this case was unfortunately was not exercised, and which is wrong, and therefore the Supreme Court came to rescue of this person and granted bail. So these are some of the judgments. There are so many other judgments also, but these are very important judgments on this subject. Now, there is a situation which comes to sometime in the court before a lawyer. Now, what happens? I was also faced with a kind of situation. A charge sheet was filed without arrest in trial court, and the trial court took the cognizance of the charge sheet and issued summons to the accused persons. It was a case of cheating, 468, 471. So the accused appeared before the trial court, and the trial court, I am just saying off the record, देखो भाई मैं तो चोरी के केस में भी बेल नहीं करता हूं, तुम्हारा तो चीटिंग का केस है और तुम जो है मेरे सामने 437 में बेल लगा रहे हो, देख लो भैया, मैं बेल आपको ग्रांट नहीं करूंगा. So, faced with this situation, the these accused persons, they withdrew their bail application which was filed, and then they went to the session court and filed an application for grant of anticipatory bail. Now, the session court, the state and the PP, the public prosecutor and the police both said that we don't need his custody. We have filed the charge sheet without arrest. So there is no apprehension of arrest. So this application is not maintainable. The session judge said, yes, they are right. You have no apprehension of arrest. So why have you come to my court and filed this application? And that application was disposed of with a direction that the applicant will surrender before the court and file a bail application. Now, at this stage, these people came to me. So I said, you have filed one application, you withdrew it under 437. You filed another bail application under 438 CRPC. That also stands disposed of. I can't file. But anyhow, I said, let us take a chance. So it's a case, kind of a case study situation. So I prepared another anticipatory bail application and I filed it. The bail application was filed. So the judge said, Mr. Counsel, the second anticipatory bail is not maintainable. So I said, Your Honor is correct, but I have come for a different reason. So I showed him that when the IO and the PP said that there is no apprehension of arrest and the bail application was not maintainable at the first instance, then with all respect, Your Honor's observation of my appearing and surrendering before the trial court is going to cause me prejudice. So the judge was nice. He said, okay, I give you a chance. And then he considered this court of its own motion versus state 2017. And he said that when the bail application is filed by the applicant in the trial court before the court of magistrate, the trial court will consider para 26.5 of that judgment of courts of its own motion versus CBI and the other judgment. Then we came back to the trial court 437. So trial court said, Mr. Jatan Singh, how can I grant bail? I don't grant bail in a cheating case. And so he said, I don't grant bail in a theft case. This is a cheating case. So that I made him understand 437 and 439. If all lawyers on the criminal side, they are aware of Sandeep Kumar Bafna. The judgment of Sandeep Kumar Bafna versus state of Maharashtra. This is a case not on charge sheet without arrest, but it's a case where the accused filed anticipatory bail application up to High Court, rejected, went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court gave him another chance to file an application before the High Court. Again, he files a surrender application before the High Court and a bail application under section 439 CRPC. The High Court says that I don't have powers of surrender. The jurisdiction is with the magistrate, and then rejects. Then again goes back to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court in Sandeep Kumar Bafna and very beautifully described the concept of 437 and 439. The word custody, which is written in 439, is not there in 437. 437, it is only says when the accused is arrested and produce And in 439, it says when the accused is in custody. So the Supreme Court describes and says that the accused, when he files a surrender application in the High Court, he was in the judicial custody of the court, and the High Court should have not refused to exercise the jurisdiction of bail. So in this case study, which I also had it, I convinced the learned magistrate that had it been a different case, let us assume it is a case of theft, and it is a first production of the accused in the court. So will this is a non-bailable offense? Will this court will not exercise the jurisdiction? Then the court was convinced, and the bail was granted to them. So we encounter so many situations during trial. During our trial, we bail applications, and nowadays we are doing all on video conferencing. The all bail application, every urgent matter, civil or criminal, are being heard. So the invent of webinar is also one of the areas which Mr. Rubinder Singh Ghumman, to whom we call him a Robbie, which is his nickname. So he's taken a lot of pain in organizing all these seminars. So my topic comes to an end here. I have some more situations, but they're all related to all these judgments. So my topic comes to an end. I am thankful to Rubinder. I am thankful to Nitesh. I am thankful to entire team of lecture series, who is hosting all these webinars on different subjects. Thank you so much. If anyone has some question, I can definitely try to answer.
So thank you so much, sir, for taking so much pains in elaborating the present session with the subject. Sir, I would like to take the first question today. Sir, if the accused is summoned on filing of the charge sheet without arresting, can the court still take him into the custody?
No, I have answered, and I have given my own case example in this. That is one of the kind of a case study, and it had really very peculiar facts, like rejection of rather withdrawal of that first application of 437, and then again going back to session court twice in anticipatory bail, and then again coming back to the trial court in 437, and where the bail was granted. Though the court, learned magistrate court, or a special judge, where the offenses are below punishment, below 7 years of punishment. So in those cases, the discretion of bail is a judicial discretion. The court definitely has a power to reject your bail application. It is not that every time the court will come to your rescue and grant you bail. But your question is that in a case where the charge sheet is filed without arrest and the accused appears, can he be taken into custody? My answer is perfectly no. He cannot be taken into custody because of 2004 judgment, 2017 judgment, 2018 judgment of division bench, 2 division benches judgment, and 1 single judge judgment of High Court, where these are not
good evening.
Individual cases. Good evening. I'm just coming to. These are not individual cases. These are cases which are referred by the learned courts of learned magistrates, CMMs. So these are cases in which the court said, no, you cannot ask the IO and you cannot send back the charge sheet on the question of arrest or no arrest. But you definitely can send the charge sheet back if the investigation is not proper. You can send it for further investigation. But for arrest and non-arrest, no questions are raised because it's the right of the investigating officer, and the accused must be granted bail.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much for this electrifying, profound, intense lecture, sir. It's been really a wonderful.
Thank you. Robbie, another situation I was just.
Sir, I have a question to ask, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, if an accused is on interim anticipatory bail,
Yes.
and the IO files a charge sheet without arresting,
Yes.
and the APP before the court states that since charge sheet is filed, the application for bail is not maintainable. So in that scenario, what is the answer, sir?
Robbie, the answer is,
Webinar चल रहा है, webinar चल रहा है.
answer is, I tell you, what happens is, in 2018 and 2019, I have gone through so many judgments of Honorable Justice Sanjeev Sachdeva, and majority of those judgments are in section 376 IPC or serious sections. Now, and I can give you at least 6-7 name of the judgments: Hariom Gupta, Mandeep Gujral, Hemant Gupta, Prem Yadav, Anand Sarup, Praveen. So in all these judgments, what has happened is the accused filed anticipatory bail, seeing the FIR being registered against him under section 376. So the Honorable High Court, Justice Sachdeva, granted interim protection. And in the meanwhile, that protection continued. But the investigating officer, just to oust the jurisdiction of the court, filed a charge sheet in the court without arrest. So definitely the charge, after filing of the charge sheet, the application, anticipatory bail application was not maintainable. So the court has evolved a very nice method. Court said, okay, fine, you filed a charge sheet. I permit the accused to file a bail application before the trial court, and trial court will hear the bail application and decide it. And if it is rejected by the trial court, another period of 1 week or more is granted to the accused to come back to the court. So that way, the Justice Sanjeev Sachdeva passed, at least I found more than 15 such judgments and orders where interim bail was granted, but charge sheet was filed without arrest. The court said, go to the court, file a regular bail application. Even if it is rejected, again come back to me. I'll hear your bail application, and that's how the bail was granted. And this is the answer to your question.
Thank you, sir. Nitish, another question from anyone else?
Yes, sir. There is from one Surender Sharma. Yes, Surender ji, you can ask the question.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening, Surinder.
Sir, my question is very difficult. Actually, it relates to consultancy. Sorry, sir, to say.
It relates to consultancy.
Yes, sir.
तो मेरे को बाद में फोन कर लेना.
Sir, ज़्यादा बड़ा नहीं है.
नहीं, I'll answer.
You can answer.
I'll give you consultancy free of cost. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You call me after this is over.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And
sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
So before we end it up, sir, we have to make us thank a guest. And before that, sir, I have a question, sir. Sir,
Yes.
you have very nicely explained the relevancy of 173, sir. And what I found in your lecture, sir, was very appealing thing, sir, on uh, on the point of reference in which a magistrate said that do I have a power to give to direct for grant of bail or not, sir?
No, no, direct the IO to
IO.
on the question of arrest and non-arrest.
Correct, sir.
That was the first reference.
Sir.
Second reference.
That was very enlightening one, sir.
Yeah.
And honestly, did I not also know that bail provisions are till 450, like everybody else? Even I thought also that they're till 439, sir. So retrieving back to the question, sir.
Yes.
Under 156.3, sir, subclause 3.
Yes.
Supreme Court has said that the court has got the power to monitor the investigation, and this was in
Skiri Basu.
yes, sir, versus State of UP.
Yeah, Skiri Basu.
So between the interplay, sir, between the two sections, sir. So what is your take on this, sir?
Take on what? 156.
So take on the thing which you have said right now, sir, that whether the MM has the power for directing the investigating officer to file to release the person on bail or not. At the same time, sir, under 156.3, this seems to be a power play between two sections, sir.
No, 156.3. 156.3 is totally different than the provisions of bail. 156.3 is what 156.3 you file an application along with your complaint or as merely a standalone application in the court of magistrate,
right, sir,
asking for registration of the FIR because Lalita Kumari, it has been laid down by the Constitution Bench that section 154 CRPC, it is mandatory for every police officer to register the complaint and register the complaint of the complainant and convert that into an FIR. So that 154 provides that every complaint which is lodged with the police officer has to be reduced into writing into a FIR. So once that complaint is filed and the FIR is not registered, then you come to the court and files an application before the court under section 156.3 and ask the court to give directions to the SHO that this offense, this non-bailable offense was, this cognizable and non-bailable offense was happened, and the SHO did not take action and did not register the FIR. So that happens, but that after 156.3 the FIR is registered. Now it is up to the IO to during the investigation seek the custodial interrogation or not. If he seeks it, then it is a different thing. If he does not seek it and file a charge sheet without arrest, then the same situation will come. The answer is those 2-3 judgments, and the magistrate has to grant bail.
Absolutely correct, sir.
So I, from my bottom of my heart, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity of speaking on this topic and telling whatever little I could tell, and I hope that this topic has helped so many lawyers and will help in future the lawyers who are practicing on the criminal side.
Sir, to interrupt you in between, there is one question from Advocate Zoya Mehta. Zoya, you can ask the question.
Yes.
Zoya.
Sir, I also want some citation.
Yeah, Shobit, you can also ask, no problem.
Shobit.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Zoya.
Sir, I have a question regarding, I mean, it's contrary to what has been discussed, My question is, what remedies do we offer as lawyers when the client has filed FIR, but the IO hasn't filed the charge sheet against the accused, and neither is the IO filing any closure report? Now, the complainant's FIR is neglected without any cognizance being taken by anyone. So, are there any provisions which make the police personnel responsible and not leave the fate of the case hanging in limbo regarding these cases?
Actually, during investigation, if the accused is not arrested, then you know that there is no limit for the investigating officer to file a charge sheet.
Yes.
If the accused is in custody, then you have 60 days, 90 days, whatever according
Yes,
to
that's
so. But in this case, what you can do is because if you feel that I just give you an example.
Yes.
And there is a judgment of this judgment also, because the accused and complainant both can rely upon these judgments. One is the Sakiri Basu, which Mr. Guman told, and other is Parivartan versus MCD. This 2005 judgment by Justice Karju.
So the second judgment is?
Parivartan versus MCD.
Okay, sir, I'll see
So
to it.
this judgment provides that if you are not satisfied with the investigation.
Sir, I have a question.
Thank you.
Just hold on. If you're not satisfied with the investigation, you can approach the court of concerned magistrate with an application,
Okay, sir.
saying that the investigation is not properly carried out and you want some directions. So you can file that application under section 156(3), and that is for accused and complainant both. Yes.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. Any more questions?
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Shobit was asking something.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
My dear child, Shobit.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Woman, you know, Shobit was there with me for more than 3.5 years.
Sir,
Wow,
4 plus, sir, 5 years, sir, please, sir, 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Sir, I just want to know, sir, 2 things, sir, if you just grant me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, first of all, sir, thank you for taking off your precious time in respect of this subject, sir. And sir, certain citations, sir, of 2004 and 17 and 18, sir, you have highlighted. And sir, Dataram also, sir, we need some the citation, sir. If you
citation is it has you can take it out from Manu.
Okay, sir, I'll do that, sir.
Manu Patra, Manu /SC/0085.
Okay, I'll do that, sir.
2018.
And sir, another second part, sir. Sir, if complainant filed a complaint against an accused and IU has filed a charge sheet without arrest, and sir, he has moved further, like sir, what we have learned from the webinar, sir, the complainant has moved the 173(8) application, and that too has also been dismissed by the magistrate. So what remedy the complainant has, sir, if the charge sheet has also been filed?
Oh, against dismissal of 173(8), go to
for
the
further investigation.
Go to the High Court.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Hello, so voice is break.
File 482 CRPC petition.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nitesh and
Sir, I have a question.
Who is there?
Sir, there's a question for you, sir.
Sir, Hina this.
Okay.
Sir, good evening. I have 2 questions. First is, by the given precedents, the power of magistrate has been curtailed, but it has been indirectly given power in the hands of police officials for not arresting the accused person. So what are the measures can be taken to fill this loophole so that law of arrest can be followed in strict manner? Second question is, if magistrate grants bail and direct for further investigation, so in what limit? So in what limit or time period further investigation can be completed, as complainant's right already been hampered due to non-arrest of accused person? Thank you, sir.
You have very long question, but your first part of the question is, first part of the question, which I understand, is that the police is rather abusing the power of filing charge sheet without arrest. This is what you say, that they misuse.
Yes,
So,
sir.
but you know, what happens is, as I have said, that the power of arrest is solely lies with the police. Yeah. And right from Ramesh Kumar and earlier to that Joginder Singh, all these judgments. Now, every court has said that we cannot force the investigating officer to arrest or not arrest the particular accused. But as you say that since they are misusing, then if they are misusing, then you have their superior officers. You can go to them and complain against them.
Okay. So, what about the second question?
Right. Second question is what?
Sir, it's about the further investigation, the time limit of further investigation.
Further investigation. See, filing 173(8) application, there is no embargo, there is no restriction, there is no time limit. You can file 173(8) application at any stage of the trial.
Yes, sir. Sir, but without arresting the accused person, further investigation has been directed by the magistrate. So it indirectly hampered the.
Yes. That is why.
Yes.
That is why.
Yes, sir.
That is why Court of Own Motion versus State 2018.
Yes,
Justice Vipin Sanghi and Justice I.S. Mehta, they have said that the court has a power to send back the charge sheet for further investigation.
Yes, sir. But sir, it indirectly hampered the complainant's right, because earlier investigation has already been done.
Complainant right is always there once the charge sheet is filed, and after the charge sheet cognizance and some cognizance is taken, summoning is done, then the complainant, they are coming and every matter they are appearing, and they have a right to oppose the bail application.
True, sir. True.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, thank you so much for the profound, intense and electrifying lecture, sir, on such a practical subject, sir. Not only have you explained in detail, sir, in fact, you have also argued, sir, how a valuable right under Article 21, that is the right of bail, is protected, sir, and what are the interplays of sections. Thank you so very much, sir, for an electrifying talk, sir, and we would surely request you to come once again on some other topic of criminal law. It was a pleasure hearing you, sir. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, so much.
Gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.